Where does someone turn when their closest loved one is the cause of their pain? How do people facing domestic violence escape the situation if the situation is in their own home? For decades, San Mateo County residents have been turning to Korah. That's community overcoming relationship abuse. And we're lucky today to have with us the new executive director, Colsaria Henderson. Colsaria, thank you for joining us today. So I guess a good way to start, the first thing we should ask is, what is the definition of partner abuse?
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for inviting Cora here. Intimate and partner abuse, when we're talking about it, we really talk about violence in the home. We talk about physical abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse, sometimes financial abuse, that all affect an intimate relationship.
Great. And so how many people are affected by intimate partner abuse each year in San Mateo County? You must be quite busy.
Yeah, statistically, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in San Mateo County are affected. And while we know those numbers can be very daunting, that often not that many actually seek the help and services that they might need.
Wow, it's frightening to know that 1 in 4, 25% women, and 1 in 7 men have to experience this type of behavior. So what is Korah?
Yeah, so Korah is the only dedicated San Mateo County agency that is focused specifically on supporting survivors and family that are affected by intimate partner abuse. Korah provides everything from legal services to counseling and therapy to emergency housing.
And how long have they been around?
Decades. So over 40 years.
Wow.
Over 40 years, yeah.
And your office is in Redwood City, are they?
It's in San Mateo.
San Mateo, actually.
San Mateo.
Okay, great. And so how many are supported by Korah each year?
So last year we supported over 11,000 people.
11,000 people. How do you?
Over 11,000 people through Korah services.
What's your staff? How big is your staff?
We're just over 50.
50. Wow, 50
so,
people.
Yeah. So it takes a lot of work to support that many people.
Right. And does that include working with the district attorney's office, with the police departments and sheriff's departments, et cetera?
Absolutely. We have to work with law enforcement. We work with the DA. We work with other nonprofits that are really key to us making sure that services are available across the board for families and survivors that we serve.
So do you see the cases increasing, decreasing? I know it's sometimes tough to keep your finger on the pulse when it comes to data, but yeah.
I think we see over time what we've seen is more people are coming forward. So we're not sure, and we're skeptical to say that domestic violence was never at these levels. We actually anticipate that domestic violence has been going on for a really long time, right?
Forever.
And but what we see now with our society and our media is we see more people willing to come forward and to talk about it and to ask for support.
So that's a good thing then.
It is a good thing.
And I know that in my current position that with the more that we make services known and resources known, that we tend to get people who feel more comfortable in reporting. And so that's a good thing. Great, good to hear.
Absolutely.
So what resources does Korah offer? Now we'll get down to the nuts and bolts.
Well, we have a 24-hour hotline. We offer, like I said, counseling support, which includes therapy services for both adults and children, and that can even come in support group form. We also have emergency housing. So we have 2 safe houses in the county, and then in addition we have legal support services that include everything from court accompaniment to actual legal representation.
Great. So how does someone end up at Korah? Can you take us from maybe a typical case?
Sure. Yeah, so again, with our 24-hour hotline, often a survivor may call, a survivor family member might call, sometimes law enforcement will call. We have a dedicated line for law enforcement as well, that's 24 hours. And so they call our hotline, and then we'll find a trained domestic violence advocate on the other end, and that advocate will walk them through safety planning, support, options planning that they might have, and from there they might decide to come in for support group, or that they might need to go to emergency housing, and they will help them access all of those services. In addition, we do take walk-ins at our office as well. And so if folks want to walk in and see someone personally, then that's an option as well.
And those advocates that you referred to, are they within your office, or are they other agencies too that you have access to?
So they're actually all within our office. They're all trained because of the specialized training that domestic violence requires, both in our state law as well as through our federal laws. So they're all within our office. We have a call center within our office. And it also, the calls could be taken also at our 24-hour shelter, so that we can take someone into a shelter 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter if it's in the middle of the night.
Wow, and how many shelters do you have?
We have 2 shelters. One's 22 bed and another is 6. And we spend months with folks to help them find safety, stability, and help them figure out what support they might need next.
And I would imagine they're full, probably.
They are full all the time, but we will help provide support even if the shelter is full.
That's good to hear.
Absolutely.
So what is your advice for someone who might be in an abusive relationship? I know it's hard. It's in that cycle. They become involved in that cycle. And it's sometimes very hard for them to break free from that cycle.
Well, I would want folks to know that they're not alone, that there are people that can support you, and that what's happening in your house is not your fault. And that you can talk with someone over the phone. You don't have to give your name. You don't have to give any information, just to hear what's available and what options might look like. Sometimes safety is hard to navigate and it's hard to figure out, and that there are options out there.
And those obstacles, can you talk about some of those obstacles that people are facing when they have to make that very tough decision to come forward and actually seek help?
I think, honestly, the biggest obstacle that people might face is fear. Fear of their abusive partner, fear of what their family might think, fear of their community, fear of asking for help. And fear comes a lot of different ways. We also see obstacles with immigration. We see obstacles with navigating the legal system. We see obstacles with thinking about taking my children into a safe house is such a hard thing for parents to do. And while we talk a lot about, or we traditionally talked a lot about women, that Korra is available for anyone. It's available for men. Men can come into our Safe House program. We service LGBTQ community. We welcome that. So when someone's hurting or in pain or trying to figure out what the next steps are, we really want to minimize all of the obstacles that are there and the barriers that they might be facing. And we can do that often through conversations and a phone call.
Right. So do you have access to volunteers? How does it, if so, how does that work?
Oh, we need volunteers. In fact, we have a volunteer appreciation coming up just this week because we value our volunteers. Our volunteers come, they do all kinds of things. Some, yes, work directly with survivors, but others actually support us through our community and through our office and through donations and through community education and awareness that we would never be able to do. Volunteers are crucial for us to get our name out there. It's crucial to us to let the community know that we're out there and we're available and what intimate partner abuse is. And so volunteers help us do all of those things. And so we definitely depend on them.
Great. And so how can people support Korra?
Well, the biggest thing that I would say is to go to our website. We do have a wish list that is updated regularly on our website at korrasupport.org. We also have a few events coming up. For October, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we have several events listed on our website, including a meet and greet with me on October 17th, if you'd like to come and see Korra. And we also will do a big luncheon, an awareness luncheon in February. So please go to our website and we will love to meet you.
And what are some of the things that volunteers can do for Korra?
Well, so sometimes it's tabling, some, for events. Sometimes there are basic things like being at farmers markets, letting people know, places where people might not normally expect us to be, right? Often there are events that are held in our community by churches and other nonprofits that are really important. Sometimes there are small speaking engagements that can be done. We also work with youth on prevention, and so sometimes there's great opportunities there to work with children and youth around healthy relationships, so that we can stop the cycle before it starts.
And do you go to colleges, maybe universities?
Yeah, we will talk to anybody that will listen to us, I think. We absolutely. So it is I would say from the very beginning. We have children as young that come in that are 0 and 1 years old that will be with our children's advocates and be a part of therapy with mom, potentially all the way through education and outreach through folks that are seniors that are experiencing the same type of violence or have a family member that are.
Now, I know you have a very extensive background in this field. And so you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what led you to this organization in particular.
Oh, well, I have been in this field for well over 2 decades and at this point. And my parents were civil rights activists, actually, Dan. And so I think in some ways I was meant to be here, and I was always headed this direction. I've worked specifically in California and the Bay Area for multiple domestic violence agencies and sexual assault prevention agencies, and Korah was always well known. Korah has always had a great reputation in San Mateo County and even on the statewide level. I sit on a statewide board as well for domestic violence, and Korah again was well known there. So it was my pleasure to receive the phone call to begin the process for their next executive search. And so far it's been an amazing ride. The staff are amazing and dedicated, and I'm exactly where I should be.
Good to hear. Now, how about goals? What are your goals?
Oh, our goals often remain pretty simple. We want to get out there. We want the community to know about us. We want families to feel supported, and we want our staff to be supported. So a lot of my work is also on helping and supporting them, because they're also witnessing and bearing witness to a lot of trauma as well. So yeah, I think our mission is to end this. Our mission is to do our part to help create a world where peace is actually happening in our families.
Empowering people to do so.
Absolutely, absolutely. So getting folks involved, getting our community involved, and being a part of the larger movements that are existing out there as well. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Domestic violence is complex. It is difficult. It is confusing, but it's never acceptable. But there is help for anyone in San Mateo County facing it. Please, if you are experiencing intimate partner abuse, do not hesitate. Call Cora. If it's an emergency, call 911. There are people who can help. For more information about Korah and what it does, visit korahsupport.org. This is Dan Lawson for Take Notice. Have a nice day.